Just stick it on your hat. That's good. Yeah, there we go. Hey guys, Des here. I have the pleasure to be here with Ron Gilbert, creator of Thimbleweed Park, the game that I just played, as well as creator of Maniac Mansion, Super Monkey Island, a lot of great games out there. Ron, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am fantastic. Hey, we just played or not Super Monkey Island. I played that a while back.
Secret of Monkey Island.
Secret of Monkey Island. Super Monkey Island. I played a game that was like Super Monkey Ball earlier. I know, right?
So yeah, I want to play Super Monkey Island.
It's where it's Super Monkey Ball, but on Monkey Island.
Right.
So Thimbleweed Park is what we just played, and tell us, what made you want to make this kind of game? What kind of work went into it?
Well, the reason we really wanted to make it was, Gary Winnick and I, who created the game, we were kind of looking at a lot of the, old games that we made at Lucasfilm, like Monkey Island and Maniac Mansion, and Zach McCracken and all those, and there was this charm to those games, and it's like we were kind of wondering, well, what is that charm, and why don't a lot of adventure games today have that same charm? And so it was really about just recapturing that charm. Can we recapture that charm?
And I just got to play about 10 minutes of it, and charm is the perfect word for what was going on there. I was saying in the video that the characters themselves were all taking themselves seriously, but the game itself was not taking itself seriously. So you knew that these characters had this feel that they were serious and they were gritty, but it was all in such a camped and overdone way. Right. It was hilarious. I loved it. And then just the option, it reminded me of like the old text-based RPG games where you just typed in like, use a key on door. And you had this feel of just click on the use, click on the key, click on the door, and everything that you did was great. Why did you choose the aesthetic that you chose, kind of the 16-bit, 8-bit look to it?
Well, I think that harkens back to the old Lucasfilm games, because they were all in that aesthetic, and we were wondering, well, is that a part of the charm? Is that kind of 8-bit aesthetic and the verbs on the screen and all that, is that really a part of the charm of those games?
And it very much is. Nostalgia galore is going on there. So how about this kind of sci-fi mystery feel? Why'd you go with that?
Well, I think, I'm a huge fan of Twin Peaks. So a lot of the vibe of the game is this very kind of Twin Peaks vibe. And I love David Lynch. I love, everything he does and the kind of the weird worlds he creates. And so it was really kind of about, creating that same kind of weird world in this game.
Now, we had the pleasure of talking to Steve earlier. We just ran into him at a coffee shop this morning, and he was talking about how you wanted this Twin Peaks feel, but also that through it, you went through Kickstarter.
Yeah.
How did that Kickstarter go for you guys, and what kind of sort of challenges did you face to get that Kickstarter going?
The Kickstarter was great for us. It raised $620,000 on it, so it was really good. And I think it really did tap into a lot of fans of those old games, and kind of getting back to that that charm thing again. But the Kickstarter's been great to do. We ran a blog where we talked about every week we would do 2 or 3 updates to the blog. We talked about what we were doing and how we were making the game, and all the decisions we were making and all that, and it was a lot of fun to do that.
That's awesome. Now, Steve was also talking about this Twin Peaks feel. Why don't we get him in here? Come on in, Steve. So Steve did the music for Thimbleweed Park, and you had mentioned talking about, and Ron was talking about the Twin Peaks feel of it. What did you have to go through to get the right musical feel for that?
Well, it wasn't hard for me because I was a huge fan of Twin Peaks. I think that the hardest part is to understand that when you're a composer, you don't want to copy stuff. You want to get the feeling, you want to get the vibe, and you want to get the pacing of the reference music. You don't want to imitate it. I did use some similar instrumentation. It was very helpful that Ron is a fan of guitars. So we're talking a lot of the stuff is, and I'm a guitarist, so that helps. A lot of the music ended up kind of almost being a concerto for baritone guitar and orchestra, with a few extra guitars thrown in for good measure. But we needed to make sure that there was a slower pacing because it's not an action video game. You're solving puzzles, so you need stuff to be sort of dark and moody and not sound too repetitious. So we worked really hard to get to that point.
And you'd hold like a note, and it would just give this like eerie ring, and then it would slowly change to something else, and it was not at all repetitious, and you definitely had that tension, the feeling of tension as you're going through the game. You did a great job of holding that. How did you balance the camp of the video game, that it's obviously comedy, with the still wanting to have an eerie tension to it?
By playing it straight. By playing the music straight, so that the comic elements were not underscored like a cartoon, because that would have ruined it. It would have made it too it would have made it not funny. It would have made the humor not funny to comically score it that way. And you can't score the action anyway, not really,
right?
Unless you wanted to get a lot more adaptive and interactive. And so what we decided to do was to take let's just say a 2-minute piece of music, and I had to compose it in a way that each phrase was modular, so each phrase could interact with the other phrase in any order, and that was the biggest challenge. Well, it was a fun challenge, and it worked. So I'm glad it worked.
You did a great job.
Well, thank you.
You really did.
Thank you very much.
With things being serious, the tone serious, the music serious, how did you go about balancing the comedy of it and making sure you were plugging in not too much or just the right amount?
I don't know that there's any magic formula for that, right? You just kind of do it, and you just kind of feel it, and like Steve was saying, a lot of it you just play straight, right? And you use the comedy to kind of accent, different moments that are happening in the game. But you play the story straight because players need to take the story seriously,
Absolutely.
right? And that's important for them to be invested in the story and what's going on. So you just kind of play that straight, and you have some kind of funny moments in the game, and it helps with the pacing of everything.
Simple question: why 1987?
Because that is the year that Maniac Mansion was released.
Oh, nice, very nice. Well, one final question to both of you guys: what was your favorite part that you worked on throughout the entire game?
Oh, there's so much.
Of course,
it's like hard for me to pick. I think I really enjoyed the factory at the end of the game.
Oh, okay.
Because it's kind of the climax of the game, and it had to create this kind of weird, kind of mechanical mood to everything. So I think I had a lot of fun with the factory.
Absolutely.
And the big reveal of the story happens there.
All right, Steve?
I really love composing the music for the factory too. That was really fun. My other favorite piece to work on was the circus piece, which is got mixed reviews. So some people really, really like it, and some people go, oh. But for me, it was the whole idea of recreating the mood and the feel of a dilapidated, rundown
circus,
doesn't work anymore circus with this clown, and nothing else was really, really fun.
Well,
it was fun to write something that demented.
Yeah, I didn't get to see that. I want to, though. Thank you so much.
There's also, by the way, an original soundtrack that you can get on Bandcamp if you want to just scoot ahead and listen to the circus theme.
On Bandcamp, absolutely cool. We'll check that out happily.
Under Terrible Toy Box.
Terrible Toy Box.
Yeah, and Thimbleweed Park.
Fantastic. And is Thimbleweed Park out yet, or is it coming out?
Yeah, it's out on Steam, Mac, Windows, and Linux, and it's out on Xbox, it's out on PlayStation, and it'll be out on the Switch and iOS in a month or so.
Fantastic. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you, gentlemen, so much. Play Thimbleweed Park. It looks great. Agent Reyes was designed after me, just so you guys know. They saw me, and they're like, that's the guy. We want him to look like him. So go ahead and go play it. And thank you, gentlemen, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you, dezandfox.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.